यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। जगत गुरु शील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text number 9. Turiye dharma kala sarge. Turiye dharma kala sarge. Turiye dharma kala sarge. Nara narayana rishi. Naranarayana vrishi. Naranarayana vrishi. Bhutva atma upasamopetam. Bhutvatmopasamopetam. Bhutvatmopasamopetam. Akarot dushcharam tapaha, akarot dushcharam tapaha, akarot dushcharam tapaha, turye dharma kala sarge, nara narayana vrishi, bhutvatmo pasumopeta, akarot dushcharam tapaha, turye dharma kala sarge, nara narayana vrishi, bhutvatmo pasumopeta, akarot dushcharam tapaha. Turye, in the fourth of the line, Dharmakala, wife of Dharmaraja, Sarge, being born of Naranarayanau, named Nara and Narayana, Rishi, sages, Bhutva, becoming, Atma Upasama, controlling the senses, Upetam, for achievement of, Akarot, undertook, Dushcharam, very strenuous, Tapaha, penance. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. In the fourth incarnation, the Lord became Nara and Narayana, the twin sons of the wife of King Dharma. Thus, he undertook severe and exemplary penances to control the senses. Kindly repeat. In the fourth incarnation, the Lord became Nara and Narayana, the twin sons of the wife of King Dharma. Thus, he undertook severe and exemplary penances to control the senses. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As King Rishabha advised his sons, tapasya or voluntary acceptance of penance for realization of the transcendence is the only duty of the human being. It was so done by the Lord himself in an exemplary manner to teach us. The Lord is very kind to the forgetful souls. He therefore comes himself and leaves behind necessary instructions, and also sends his good sons as representatives to call all the conditioned souls back to Godhead. Recently, within the memory of everyone, Lord Chaitanya also appeared for the same purpose, to show special favor to the fallen souls of this age of iron industry. The incarnation of Narayana is worshipped still at Badari Narayana on the range of the Himalayas. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mokam karoti vachalam, pangum langhayate girim, yat kripatamaham vande, Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Recently there was a news about a family in the Western world. So the media has covered this news very positively as a sign of development, progress of the civilization. Generally, in the views, in the eyes of modern day intellectuals and the media as such, the olden days, the society was less advanced, and today we are more advanced. Not only in terms of science, technology, facilities for people to carry out their lives, etc. We are seeing so many of those things. We today have aeroplanes, we have mobile phones, communication is much faster, medical technology has improved so much, we understand how the body functions much better, etc., etc., etc. In practically every field, there has been a lot of advancement. So it's not only in the field of science and technology, even in the value systems in the society also, the society has seen a gradual progress. So this is natural because any society for that matter, if it doesn't advance, it will stagnate or it will regress and eventually it will get destroyed. So as long as the society is progressing, things will keep moving forward nicely. So the value systems in the olden times, in the olden ages that people had, they are considered today to be regressive values. Those values were all made by men. Patriarchal society we had, where men used to dominate and women were suppressed. They were not allowed equal participation in the society. And now the value systems are changing. We are looking at gender equality. We are looking at greater freedom for women. Women are also to be treated equally with men, etc., etc. So these are all signs of advancement of a civilization where every individual is given an equal opportunity in the society to experience the benefits of whatever the society has to offer in terms of economic development, in terms of the facilities for one's satisfaction of one's desires, or in terms of one's whatever medical care is required for an individual. So in terms of all this, equal opportunity, the more the people get an equal opportunity, equal access to all these things, education, medical care, economic development, etc., the more the society is considered to be progressive. This is natural. If we can see in the olden times, in the Western world, there used to be the system of slavery. Blacks were subjected to slavery by the whites. But now, and in South Africa, we had the system of apartheid. So as the society has progressed, we have gone beyond all these things and given the blacks also equal rights in society. So giving people equal rights, equal opportunities for participating in the benefits of the progress of the development of the society is considered to be a sign of progression. So more people should be more independent, they should be more free, they should have greater opportunities, etc., etc., and to be able to express themselves freely, to be able to try to fulfill their desires freely. The olden ages, there were some things which women were not supposed to do. Like before the World War, I think it was the Second World War, before the Second World War or the First World War, I'm not sure. I think it's the Second World War. Before the Second World War, women would never work outside in the Western world. Women would never work. It would always be men going to the factories and working. But in the Second World War, when all the men went to the war front, there were no men to work in the factories. So, there being no other recourse, all the women started going and working to the factories. And after the Second World War ended, the women continued working, and that is how in the Western world, women came to get an opportunity to also work and earn for themselves. Otherwise, women were not, there were no women working in the industry at all. Women were supposed to be at home, taking care of the family and children. So we can see how the different, these kind of things which have happened in the society have provided greater opportunity for the women also to come forward and to be able to express and to be able to fulfill their desires. Women have started working, they have started earning money, and money means economic power is in your hand, means you have got independence. If you have got money in your pocket, you can freely go and spend it in whatever way you want and enjoy life the way you want. When we are students, when we are still under the control of our parents, the parents will give us a pocket money. Some amount of rupees, some amount of dollars, you take this as pocket money. And when you spend that and come asking for more money, you have to justify what did you spend it for. So there is no independence. So as children, we all feel, what is this? Our parents are controlling us. When will I get a job and when will I start earning money so that I can independently spend money the way I want, and I can go to the movie I want, I can go wherever I want, I can spend it whatever way I want, I can eat the food I want, etc. So greater independence is an opportunity for the person to fulfill his desires more freely. Otherwise, there is restriction, one has to follow the directives of somebody else, one will feel suppressed, etc. So a society where there is greater independence, greater freedom, greater opportunity for people to fulfill their desires is considered progressive society. So now what has happened is, this particular news which has caught the attention of the media and the intellectuals is how women have become more and more independent. So the news was about a wife who is sharing her husband freely with her mother and with her sister. So the mother, the sister and this woman and her husband are all living in one house. And sometimes when the husband feels like he is in a mood to have sex and the woman is not interested, she will tell him, go and satisfy yourself with either my sister or my mother, whoever is interested. And they are also free. And they are also welcoming this understanding and this arrangement. And all four of them are very happily living in this relationship. So the media is presenting this, see how the women are breaking stereotypes. They are breaking the old mindsets of people that there has to be monogamy, one man and a woman. If they are in a relationship, they should not have a relationship with anybody else. Chastity and all these kind of old values are being challenged by this relationship. And we are setting new benchmarks for the expression of freedom and independence by women of the current day world. And all this is on account of the advancement that the civilization is making. And then similar to this, another news, how there is another, you cannot call couple, I don't know what, triple. So there is a man and there is a woman who were in a relationship. They were in a live-in relationship. They are not married. And they came across another woman who wanted to have a relationship with the same man. And so they all three of them discussed, and they finally decided that let us be a throuple. What is this throuple? Throuple means all the three of them can have a bodily relationship with each of them. Sometimes the two women have a bodily relationship with each other. Sometimes one woman has with the man. Sometimes the other woman has with the man. And all of them are living in a combined relationship in the same house. And so it is called a throuple. And so this is, again, the media is highlighting and glorifying that, see how the people are breaking the mindset of the society that people have to be heterosexual, and being heterosexual is normal, and if somebody is not heterosexual, then he is abnormal. So all these paradigms are being broken by this relationship, and they are highlighting all this. So, in all these kind of news, when it comes out, and when the modern day society they try to project these kind of relationships as beacons of modern day civilization, where independence and freedom from restrictions is highly glorified. Actually, what we understand from this is that this is in direct contrast to the Vedic civilization. The Vedic philosophy, the Vedic way of life, it was filled with so many restrictions. So now we are breaking all those restrictions. That's the thinking. Without understanding what was the need, what was the spirit behind all those restrictions given in the Vedic society. In the Vedic society, a man has to have a relationship with one woman, and that too only in marriage, not outside of marriage. And of course, polygamy was allowed, that a man could marry more than one wife. That was allowed. But homosexual relationships, thruples, and a man having relationship with the wife's mother and as well as sister, these things were not encouraged. These things were highly restricted. So why these kind of restrictions in the society, in Vedic society? So the modern way of thinking is, these were all restrictions put in by a patriarchal society, by men who wanted to control women, and who had their own thoughts and their own value systems, and they wanted to impose it upon the society, and in this way they wanted to control the people. So this is the outlook that the modern day so-called intellectuals have. But the reality is they have completely missed the point. In fact, as Prabhupada is mentioning in this purport, the Lord himself, as Nara and Narayana, set the example how human beings have to live. God is not some controlling person who wants to really impose some very draconian regulations and restrictions upon the human beings. He himself comes and sets an example that this is how we have to live life, a life of great austerity, tapasya. Actually, human life is not meant for unrestricted sense gratificatory life, like what it is being propagated in the modern day world. In the modern day world, human life means we should have free, unrestricted life of sense gratification. But the Bhagavatam and the Vedic scriptures are telling the exact opposite. The human form of life is, on the other hand, meant for executing severe tapasya, severe austerities. Austerity means voluntarily restricting our desires for sense gratification. So why? Because in the modern day world, the thinking is, if we unrestrictedly enjoy, then we can be happy, we can be blissful. When we are restricted, we feel frustration, we feel depressed, we feel suppressed. There are negative sentiments which build up in the heart. On the other hand, if the person is given a free hand, do whatever you want, have whatever kind of relationship you want, enjoy in whatever way you feel good for yourself. Whatever you feel is good for yourself, you enjoy. That is good for you. So this kind of freedom will make a person happy. That is the current day thinking. But like Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport, what did Rishabhadeva advise his sons? He told them, Nayam deho dehvajam nirloke kashtan kaman arhate vidbhujame. He said, Nayam deho dehabhajam. Dehabhaja means, of all the living entities who have got a body, we are all embodied personalities. We are not the body. We are occupying this body. We are occupiers of this body. We are tenants in this body. So, as tenants in this body, Nayam dehaha, this body that which we are occupying, Nayam deho dehabhajan kashtan kaman arhate. It is not meant for the occupier of the tenant or the tenant of this body to engage this body in unrestricted sense gratification. Why? Because kashtan kaman, to obtain that sense gratification in this material world, it's not easy. Everybody has to work hard. They have to earn money. And when they get the money in their hand, they spend it for their sense gratification. After that, what happens? Money gets over. You have to again earn money. So, every day you have to earn money, spend money. Earn money, spend money. And in the process of earning money, there is no guarantee that every time your effort will yield the same amount of money. Sometimes the effort yields more amount of money. Sometimes you go under loss. So, there is no guarantee that your effort will give money also. So, you have to take so much anxiety. You don't know, today I have put the effort, tomorrow whether I will get the money for it or not. And if I get the money, I enjoy, that money gets over. Again, I have to earn money. So, this way of trying to enjoy sense gratification puts the living entity into great anxiety and makes him undergo severe tribulations and undertake severe troubles in order to keep that sense gratification going. So, Rishabhadeva is saying a human being is not meant to take up this kind of anxiety and stress. Why? Because, after all, by taking that stress and taking that anxiety, I am able to freely enjoy. I am experiencing some happiness when with that money I am able to spend and have a throuple or a threeple or whatever kind of relationship I want. What's wrong in that? So, Rishabhadeva is saying, vid bhujam ye, this sense gratificatory happiness that you are experiencing, it is available not only in the human form of body. This man, he wants to enjoy a sexual relationship with his wife, with his wife's mother and with his wife's sister. And who knows, tomorrow a daughter is born to him, he will want to enjoy with her also. So this kind of enjoyment that you want to have is not available only in the human form of life. That is actually even available in the stool-eating hog's life. A hog, it eats stool and it becomes fatty, it becomes strong and its senses become powerful. And then unrestrictedly, without any consideration, the hog has sex with his sister, with his daughter, with his mother, with everybody. Just like this man is doing. He is having sex with his wife's mother. Wife's mother is as good as one's own mother. So practically he is having sex with his mother and with his wife's sister. And tomorrow who knows what all is going to happen in the future when he has children. So this kind of relationship that this man is experiencing, although modern day we may glorify it, saying that independence and freedom and breaking all restrictions and all that, but that kind of enjoyment is available in the life of the hogs, which are eating, their standard of happiness is eating stool. So even in the body of a hog, where the standard of happiness is eating stool, even there this happiness is available of this kind of sense gratification. So what is the use of glorifying this kind of sense gratification that so unrestricted enjoyment they are having, breaking all stereotypes and all that? What is the big thing about that? It is as good as eating stool and enjoying. So the same example if you take, that unrestricted sex enjoyment I should have with my wife, with my wife's mother, with my wife's sister, etc. So eating, you are eating bread, you are eating meat and all those things. Start eating stool also and start drinking urine also. So what is wrong in that? The dog will pass stool in the road. You pick that up and eat that also. Freedom, no. Unrestrictedly, you eat whatever you want. So you see, hog's life, even that opportunity is also given. So the man doesn't want to eat anything and everything. He wants a restricted food only to eat. But when it comes to sex enjoyment, he wants unrestricted sex enjoyment. So if unrestricted sense enjoyment is a standard of life, then unrestrictedly eat also like a hog. So that people don't want to do. They want to have a choice of certain kind of food stuff only to eat. So all this kind of hypocrisy we can easily be able to dissect when we have Vedic knowledge, we have Vedic understanding. So how beautifully Rishabhadeva is completely demolishing this argument that we should have unrestricted relationships, why marriage and all these kind of things, have live-in relationships, have throuple, whatever, and all these kind of things. So what is wrong in that? With a simple example, Rishabhadeva is demolishing all that argument. What is that? This kind of life is available even to stool-eating hogs. Then what is that big thing as a human being you are doing? So then what is human life meant for? So that Rishabhadeva says, Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhed yasmat brahma saukyam tvanantam. He said, human life on the other hand is meant for tapo divyam, to undergo divine austerities, take upon oneself voluntary restriction from sense gratification. So tapo divyam putraka is addressing his sons. Oh my sons, human life, you have got this human form of life, you have become my sons. Don't engage it in unrestricted sense gratification, but engage it in tapo divyam, engage it in divine austerities. So why should I engage in divine austerities? After all, even though I may be engaging in sense gratification, which is available even for hogs, which are eating stool, at least I am enjoying something. Now, if I undergo severe austerities, tapasya if I undergo, then that happiness is also gone. Then what am I left with? So Rishabhadeva says, Tapo divyam putraka yena, by which, by following that divine tapasya, by following that divya tapasya, what happens? Yena sattvam shuddhyet, your existence will get purified. What is the use of purifying my existence, sir? I may engage in austerities, so I have given up my sense gratificatory enjoyment, I purified my existence, still I have lost that sense gratification which was available even to, that happiness which was available to stool-eating hogs also you have deprived me of. Now what am I left with? Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhyet yasmat, by that purification of your existence, Brahma Saukyam tu Anantam, you will experience Brahma Saukya. You will experience spiritual happiness. Now, spiritual happiness, okay, finally we are boiling down to the same point. I have to enjoy, I will become happy. So, I can enjoy like the stool-eating hog only without engaging in tapasya. Now, after engaging in all the tapasya, ultimately what comes? I become happy. So, without the tapasya, engage in unrestricted sense enjoyment, still I will be happy. So, what is the big deal that I have got? Why should I take so much austerity and enjoy that same happiness? So, Rishabhadeva is saying, Brahma Saukyam, that spiritual happiness, is distinguished from Kama Sukha, from material sense gratification, by Brahma Saukyam Anantam. That Brahma Saukya, spiritual happiness, is unlimited. Ananta means unlimited and unending. When we say Ananta, Ananta means, Anta means having an end. Ananta means having no end. That happiness will never end. Whereas sense gratificatory happiness has a beginning and has an end. Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita, Adyantavantaha kaunteya, matra sparshasu kaunteya, Yehi samsparshaja bhoga. All the sense gratificatory happiness that we get in this material world, it is arising out of contact of the senses and sense objects. Adyantavantaha kaunteya nateshu ramate buddhaha. That has a beginning and has an end. And therefore, intelligent people will not engage in sense gratification. What will intelligent people engage in? They will engage in tapodivyam. They will engage in divine austerities, restraining their senses, by which they will experience Ananta Brahma Saukya. They will experience happiness which has never an end. Not only is the meaning of Ananta unending, it also means unlimited. So the happiness that we get out of Kama Sukha by engaging in sense gratification is limited. So, because it is limited, the nature of sense gratificatory happiness is, it will leave you desiring for more and more. You want more, you want more. There is no satiation in the heart. You don't get fully satisfied. Yes, now I have experienced the culmination of happiness. No, you don't. You feel, there is a feeling vacuum. There is a feeling of vacuum in the heart. This time I enjoyed, but now, I wanted the extent to which I expected, to that extent the happiness did not come. So let me try again, let me try again, let me try again. And like this it goes on. Whereas, once we come to the stage of purifying our existence by divine austerities and experiencing that Brahma Saukya, spiritual happiness, what happens is, that happiness is so unlimited that you lose all desire for any kind of sense gratification. Your heart is fully satisfied by the happiness that you are experiencing. So, this is actually the goal of the human form of life, to engage in austerity, not to engage in unrestricted sense enjoyment. That unrestricted sense enjoyment is never going to give you happiness. Why? Because Rishabhadeva, in the next verse, he tells his children that he says, what is that verse? Next verse, what does he say? Can somebody pull out? That's also a beautiful verse, where he explains why the sense gratificatory activities do not give you, are not giving you unlimited and unending happiness. So he says, Rishabhadeva says, Shaknoti haiva sodhum yaha prak sharira vimokshanat kama krododbhavam begam saha yuktaha sukhicha naraha. So he says, prak sharira vimokshanat, before giving up this body, before coming to the point of death, yaha sodhum, who is able to control his senses. Prak sharira vimokshanat shaknoti yaha yaiva sodhum, one who is able to tolerate the urges for sense gratification, one who is able to control, one who is able to restrict, one who is able to restrain his senses. What happens? Kama krododbhavam begam, he is able to control the urges of kama and krodha. So although in the modern day world, the projection is, if you allow your sense gratificatory desires, if you allow kama to be fulfilled, you will become happy. What actually happens is, every time the kama will not get fulfilled. Your every kama will not get fulfilled, and every time your kama will not get fulfilled. One time your kama will get fulfilled, next time it will get frustrated. And what will happen is, that time and again, different types of kamas you have, every kama of yours also will not get fulfilled. If you have 10 different desires for sense gratification, one desire will get fulfilled, 9 desires will get demolished. Some reason, some force of nature will happen. There are forces beyond your control which will not allow you to enjoy all your desires fully. So what will happen? That unfulfilled desire, kama, which is not fulfilled, it will lead to krodha, it will lead to frustration, and that frustration will lead to anger. And when a person is angry, where is the question of happiness? So, out of 10 desires, you have 1 desire got fulfilled, 9 desires got unfulfilled, and that 9 desires are creating anger in your heart. That 1 desire which gave you happiness also goes away. So, kama krododbhavam begam, that urge which is created by kama and krodha cannot be controlled by anyone, unless one engages in tapo divyam. And one, because of that divya tapasya, because of the divine austerities, one able to sattvam shuddhyet, one is able to purify one's existence, where the urges of kama and krodha go out of our system. And Rishabhadeva says, sayuktaha sasukhi naraha, only such a person who has overcome who is able to control, restrain his senses by the power of tapasya, and who is able to tolerate the urges of kama and krodha, only such a person can really truly be called happy. So you see, engaging in sense gratification, unrestricted sense gratification, will only eventually lead to frustration, and it will lead to anger. It will not make you unlimitedly happy. That is why we are seeing in the society, as the society is progressing more and more towards greater and greater freedom and independence and opportunities for sense gratification, what is happening? The cases of psychiatric problems are increasing in society. The cases of depression are increasing in society. The cases of suicides are increasing in society. The cases of broken relationships are increasing in society. The cases of breakups are increasing in society. The cases of divorces are increasing in society. So all these are the direct result of engaging in unrestricted sense gratification. This is the reality. Just the other day, there was a news how one boyfriend, he found his girlfriend sitting in a room with another boy, having a relationship, cheating upon him and having a relationship with another boy. So what did he do? He murdered both of them. He got so angry, he could not control himself, went and murdered both of them. So you can see how all this unrestricted sense enjoyment leads to what? It leads to ultimately frustration, anger, and it will lead to violence in the society. It will lead to depression, suicide. All negative things that are happening in the society are a direct outcome of unrestricted sense enjoyment and leading a life, so-called life of freedom. Actually, it is not a life of freedom. As Rishabhadeva is saying, Kama Krododbhavam Vegam. When we are saying I am leading a free, unrestricted life, actually what are we doing? We are subjecting ourselves to the slavery of the urges of Kama and Krodha, the forces of lust and anger. Not only lust and anger, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha, Matsarya. Wherever Kama is there, wherever Krodha is there, it is followed by Lobha. And these are all the younger brothers of Kama and Krodha. Lobha, envy will come, greed will come to enjoy more and more, to get more and more, to cheat, to engage in corruption, to engage in all kinds of violent activities in order to be able to grab what one desires to enjoy and to be able to satisfy one's anger. And that Lobha is followed by Matsarya, envy. When my greed is not fulfilled, somebody else is enjoying more than me, I become envious of him. And all these things lead to Moha, illusion, that I am this body. And like this, the people continually get entangled in the cycle of birth and death within this material world. So the human form of life is not meant to live such an animal form of life and get stuck up in this world, engaging in sense gratification, which is available even to stool-eating dogs and hogs. So what is the big deal in enjoying that kind of sense gratification which is available to dogs and hogs? That is the standard of happiness human beings are meant for? No, human beings have a potential, have a capability to enjoy unlimited, unending spiritual happiness, which can never be compared with the sense gratification, lowly sense gratification, which is available to even animals also. So that is the point that the life of Narayana Rishi, they wanted to demonstrate. Rishabhadeva, he gave instructions, and those instructions were embodied, and Rishabhadeva is the Supreme Lord's incarnation. He is Krishna's incarnation. So Krishna, in his incarnation as Rishabhadeva, taught that human form of life is meant for severe austerities, divine austerities. And the Lord himself not only taught this instruction, but he also incarnated as Nara and Narayana and lived that life by to exemplify that this is the way we have to live. So see how the Lord is so merciful, so compassionate, so loving. He could have just given the instruction and told, follow. No, he personally comes and although there is no need for him, there is no need for Krishna to undergo any austerities, but he takes an incarnation and performs those austerities in order to teach us that this is the way we have to lead our life. And so also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and demonstrated how we have to become how we have to become devotees of Krishna. So this is the wonderful loving nature of Krishna. Krishna is not some despotic ruler who is imposing restrictions upon us to increase and improve and enhance his enjoyment. That is not the point. Krishna wants us to become Krishna wants us to enjoy unending, unlimited happiness. Therefore, he is coming and telling, why are you simply engaging in all this happiness, which is sense gratificatory happiness, which is available even to hogs and dogs? Please come back to the spiritual world, be with me, and enjoy unlimitedly, enjoy unendingly. And this is Krishna's desire. And to that end, Krishna personally comes. Krishna comes in the form of his incarnations, and he gives instructions, and he leads a life according to those instructions in order to inspire us and to teach us. So the Lord is doing so much for us. Therefore, it is incumbent upon us to follow those instructions and to being the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, being His creation, as our duty, our obligation towards our Creator. This much we should do to follow His instructions, and by following those instructions, it is not that we are deprived of any happiness. On the other hand, we are going to experience really different kind of spiritual happiness, which in front of which, in comparison with which, the material sense gratification will pale in comparison. So therefore, Krishna wants us to enjoy a greater, higher, wonderful standard of happiness, and to that end, the restrictions and the rules and regulations are given in the Vedic scriptures in order to give us access to that kind of spiritual happiness. So these are some of the things we can understand from the example of Naranarayana Rishi. If anybody has any question or comment, we can discuss. Yes, please. Bhagavatam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Like in this modern education, like modern culture, media, government, so everything pushing the people, encouraging the people towards the sense gratificatory lifestyle through unrestricted things. So then what is the practical way for the mass people to lead a happy life?
To lead a happy life, they have to simply follow the process of Krishna consciousness. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Become devotees of Krishna, then you can escape the clutches of this influence of Kali Yuga. This is all because of the influence of Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, the influence of Kali Yuga is to deviate people from the path of spirituality and take them away and engage them in sense gratificatory activities, unrestricted sense gratification, and perpetually enslave them in the cycle of repeated birth, death, disease, and old age within the material world. That's the Kali Purusha is doing his very duty very nicely. So we should not be bothered about that. He will do his duty. We have to do our duty. We have to preach, we have to spread the message and make more and more people Krishna conscious, then the world will change. It's as simple as that. And Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for that only, to give an alternate lifestyle, an alternate goal of life for the condemned people of this Kali Yuga. So that way the Lord is very merciful. He has given the process. Now it is for us to take up and spread that process and make the people aware of this. And if people are aware, they will take it up. Unfortunately, what happens? People are unaware that there is an alternate way of living, there is an alternate goal of life possible. So, like you said, the government, the society, the media, the colleges, the educational institutions, our parents, our relatives, our teachers, everybody are blind. Andha yatha andhai rupaniya manaha. So, the mass of people, their leaders, these teachers, these media people, the political leaders, they are all natural leaders in the society. The common mass of people, whatever they tell, they follow. Now, unfortunately, the common mass of people are blind. They are dependent upon these leaders for direction. Now, unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, these leaders are also blind. And so what happens? The blind is leading the blind, and they are going and falling into the ditch of repeated birth and death in this material world. So therefore, what we have to do, we have to propagate Krishna consciousness and show people that the path of light, that this is the real path of knowledge, and this is the path which we have to follow. If people's eyes are opened up, naturally they will follow. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other? Yes, please. Satyajit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, this Brahma Sokham Anantam. So how to make the people understand this Brahma Sokham, this spiritual happiness is unlimited, unending?
Yeah. Very simple. Make them chant Hare Krishna. So I can go on explaining how sweet honey is. That's the example given. I can go on explaining honey is so sweet. It is sweet like this, it is sweet like this, it is sweeter than sugar, all that I can tell. But if you have never tasted honey, you will never be able to understand. So best way is, instead of describing in so many words how honey is sweet, take 1 spoon of honey and give it to the person and tell him, just taste this and see how it is. The moment he tastes it, after that you don't have to explain how honey is sweet. So, right? So you ask him, how is the honey? He himself will tell, so sweet it is. I never expected it to be sweet. So what we do, simply make people chant Hare Krishna. They will experience that Brahma Saukya for themselves. Automatically they will give up sense gratification. It's as simple as that. Once they have tasted Hare Krishna mantra, that sweetness of Hare Krishna mantra, the sweetness of that Brahma Saukya, after that all philosophy explained to them, everything will make sense. Until they chant Hare Krishna and experience that sweetness for themselves, we can go on explaining philosophy. But that will never appeal to people. Ultimately, you have to make people experience that happiness personally. So for that, you have to, from the beginning, you have to make them chant Hare Krishna. If you give only philosophy, don't give them Krishna Prasadam, don't give them don't make them chant Hare Krishna, it will all be ineffective. They will not be convinced by whatever we are saying. So simple way is, give them Krishna Prasadam, so that grossly they taste Brahma Saukya, and make them chant Hare Krishna, so that subtly also they experience Brahma Saukya. And then after that you give them philosophy, everything will make sense. Okay? Anybody else? Yes, please.
Recently, government banned one organization for some unlawful activities.
PFI.
Yes. But it was seen that their whole membership drive, how they got so many followers in the society. They had restrictions like no gambling, no alcohol, no illicit relationship.
Yeah.
Some principles were there.
Yes.
And many people got attracted to the principles because they're seeing all around us the cinema and Bollywood and all those things. So somewhere there is a desire for restricted sense gratification, some form of religion which gives them, so that you don't disturb my house, I don't disturb your house, or my wife you don't disturb, I don't. That much people are attracted to in Kali Yuga also. So.
Yeah, those are all moral principles. You see, the point is, moral principles, when it comes to moral principles of you don't disturb me, I don't disturb you, which I don't think PFI was doing. They were out to demolish everybody else. So that's why the government also banned them. So the issue is that when you have all these restrictions, these rules and regulations, don't engage in intoxication, don't engage in gambling, don't engage in illicit sex and all these kind of things, but don't back it up with the proper reasoning, don't give them the proper philosophy that what is the reason why we have to prevent all these kind of things, then what happens, it becomes fanatic following. And that fanaticism will eventually turn into terrorism. So that's where the problem lies. When you don't have the philosophical backing, but blindly follow certain rules and regulations, it is that blind faith, that is called blind faith, because you don't understand why I have to live a restricted life. Like Rishabhadev is very clearly telling that you have to follow tapasya, divya tapasya, to experience Brahma Saukya. That is the goal. In the case of these organizations, what happens is, for them, following that rule itself becomes the goal of life. They are not thinking of Brahma Saukya and all that. So what happens is, that becomes blind following. That blind following will lead to fanaticism. Because why? Because somebody who is not following that, somebody who is engaging in unrestricted sense gratification, you don't know how to counter him. You don't know how to explain to him that what you are doing is wrong. So that person will say, I am engaging in unrestricted sense gratification. Why should I follow all these restrictions? Then what happens is, the person who is following these restrictions, he will get angry. He will say, oh, how dare he question me? Let me kill him. So it becomes fanaticism, and it becomes a terrorist activity. Whereas in our Vedic civilization, everybody is allowed to question. You can question, why should I follow these rules? All philosophy and reasoning is given. It will lead to kama, it will lead to krodha, it will lead to lobha. All these things, you cannot become happy. You have to experience Brahma Saukya. So if you want to experience Brahma Saukya, this is what happens. When you give all the philosophy, then a person who is engaging in unrestricted sense gratification, he also will voluntarily subject himself to that, following those restrictions, those rules and regulations. So the one system is impose. The organizations like what you are saying, they believe in imposing. You don't follow, I will force you to follow. Whereas the Vedic civilization, what is the Vedic civilization? Vedic civilization is not imposition. You are given full freedom to question. You question, understand with your intelligence, we will give all answers. You understand those answers, absorb those answers, and if you find them logical and reasonable, follow them. And the logic and reasoning and the philosophy given in the Vedas are very, very profound, and they are very, very strong. They cannot be shaken by any amount of arguments that people who engage in unrestricted sense gratification can give. It is very deep, very firm, very stable, very steady. And so therefore, anybody who is engaging in, who tries to propagate unrestricted sense enjoyment, he will never be able to justify it in the face of Vedic arguments. So therefore, Vedic argument is based on intellectual reasoning, understanding and rationale. It is not an irrational blind following. Blind following will always have its negative consequences.
At the same time too, philosophy is understood in the society by a very small section of people. And we used to have the village system, even I don't know now, maybe 40-50 years back also. In a village, everyone would know who is this person's wife, who is this person's husband. If a boy or girl is walking, this such and such person's wife. And if anybody violates any principle of dharma in the village, panchayat is called and this person is outcast from the whole village. That used to be the system.
Yeah.
So that the Kshatriya's duty is to impose dharma. So that element is there in the Vedic system also. I just wanted to understand that.
So
imposition is for the masses, philosophy is for a certain people who inquire.
So what would happen was, the common mass of people cannot be expected to have that kind of rational and intellectual ability to be able to comprehend and engage in an intellectual debate to understand the benefits of leading a restricted life, a life of restraint, a life of self-restraint, right? So, one intellectual is there, he wants to propagate unrestricted sense enjoyment, and there is another intellectual who wants to give arguments which are in favor of a life of self-restraint. So, what the kings would do, they would allow both of them to debate, and whoever wins the debate, then that person's philosophy will prevail. Then everybody, including the person who lost the debate, will have to follow that system of philosophy. So that used to be the system, and the common mass of people, okay, there are intellectual debate has happened, this person has lost, he has won, so we'll go by what he says. So intellectuals were there. There were people like Charvaka Muni who would say that we have to live a life of unrestricted sense enjoyment. What was the philosophy he used to tell? That Rinam kritva api ghritam pibet. Yavat jivet sukham jivet, Rinam kritva api ghritam pibet. And he used to say, Bhasmi bhutasya dehasya kuta punaragamanam. He used to say, his philosophy was very simple. In a nutshell, his philosophy was, Yavat jivet sukham jivet. As long as you live, you should enjoy life unrestrictedly. Rinam kritva api ghritam pibet. Even if you have to take debt, even if you have to take money by debt, beg, borrow or steal, drink ghee and enjoy. Means because in the Vedic civilization, cooking food in ghee and eating was considered the culmination of opulence and sense enjoyment. Because even today, not everybody can cook in ghee. If you have to cook in ghee, you have to be, even the richest man will not cook food in ghee and eat. It's so expensive. So he is giving an example that if you have to live such an opulent lifestyle that you have to cook everything in ghee and eat, you need a lot of money. Suppose you don't have money, beg, borrow or steal and enjoy. So somebody may question, Arey, this will create papa karma for me. Next life I will have to suffer. Bhasmi bhutasya dehasya kutappanaragamanam. Once you die, your body is consigned to the flames. Who knows whether you are going to come back or not? Who has proven that you will come back? All this is simply somebody has concocted. So that kind of philosophy existed even in that time. So that time there were theistic philosophers like Veda Vyasa who refuted Charvaka's philosophy and established that no, this is all not true. So you can study Charvaka's philosophy, you can study Vedanta philosophy, and you can decide for yourself which one prevails. Vedanta philosophy prevails. Charvaka's philosophy does not stand. Then there were people like Kanada who said that atom is the cause of this whole creation. So there is no soul, there is no life after death. Everything can be boiled down to atoms. So Paramanuvada, he gave the atomic theory, which modern scientists are also giving. So that also is refuted by the theistic arguments given by Veda Vyasa in the Vedic scriptures. So all those arguments have already been given by great intellectuals, Munis of that time. Charvaka was considered a Muni. He was an intellectual. And all his arguments have already been defeated. Kanada was another Muni. His arguments have also been defeated. So the Vedic way of life is you hear this philosophy, you hear this philosophy, and then decide for yourself using your intelligence which is better. So once one philosophy is established, the Kshatriya will say, okay, this person has won, therefore we will ensure that his philosophy works in the society. So this is reasonable, because like I said, you cannot expect the common mass of people to be intellectually advanced enough to be able to decide for themselves which is the way things have to go, what is the direction that we have to take in life. Like even in modern day world, all the media people have taken upon themselves the role of being the torch bearers for the society. The common mass of people are all engaged in monogamy. They believe in a relationship between a man and woman within marriage. If there is a live-in relationship and those kind of things, it is looked down upon in society. This is the common man's viewpoint. So what are the intellectuals in the media doing? They are propagating, no, live-in relationships are very good, it is progressive for the society, etc., blah, 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 blah. So they are also doing the same thing. That's the way the world works. So you cannot expect the common man to set the direction for the society. That has to be done by the intellectual. So therefore, Krishna conscious philosophy, if we put forth, it can defeat any argument that these people can put up. Whether it is a scientist, whether it is a sense gratifier, so-called intellectual, all their arguments can be demolished. And common mass of people can easily see, okay, these arguments are reasonable. And these arguments put forth by these sense gratifiers and by the so-called intellectuals and so-called liberals and so-called seculars and so-called scientists, they are not logical. They don't. Ultimately, they are unable to explain the deeper aspects of life in a proper logical, understandable way. So they will stand easily defeated, and then common people will follow the process of Krishna consciousness. Actually, that's what has happened to all of us. We also were following whatever those people were saying. But then after reading Prabhupada's books, our paradigms have changed. We have realized how all that is, those kind of philosophies of life are so hollow. They have nothing in them for us. And we are only doomed. We are only living a life of great distress. And we are destroying our own future if we live a life according to those philosophies of sense gratification, and that there is no life beyond the atom, and that there is no soul and all those kind of things. So we also understood that logic and the reasoning, and then we assess about whatever material knowledge we had got, and then we realized that no, that doesn't make sense. This philosophy given by Prabhupada and the Bhagavad-gita and the Vedas is what makes sense. So that's a simple thing. So we present the Krishna conscious philosophy, common mass will follow. Is that okay? So we'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.